What's up, guys? My name's Curtis, and welcome to 5-Minute Finance, where I take personal finance topics and explain them to you in 5 minutes or less. I just finished reading the book Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez. It's a great book, and I highly encourage all of you guys to get yourself a copy of it and read this book. It's all about changing the way you look at money and your relationship with money. The book takes you through a 9-step program of how everybody can transform their relationship with money and become financially independent. If you follow these 9 steps that I'm about to outline in a minute, you will become financially independent at some point. Step number 1 is to take a comprehensive look at all of the money you have earned throughout your entire life, and then calculate what your current net worth is. This step can be extremely eye-opening, as you may realize, 1, you've made a lot more money in your life than you've thought, and 2, your net worth might not be as high as you think it would be. Step number 2 is to find what they call your real hourly wage. Long story short, this is where you take your income minus any work-related expenses you may have, such as taxes, gas for commuting, clothing to wear to work, and you divide that amount by the total number of hours that you spend related to work. This is obviously the hours you spend working, your commute time, maybe unpaid breaks, and so on. Your real hourly wage is probably going to be a lot lower than you actually think it is. In one of the examples in the book, they show how somebody making $25 an hour, after you account for all of the different expenses, as well as all the extra time that they spend other than just, your typical 40 hours per week, they were actually making only around $10 for every hour they spent related to work. Step number 3 is to take a monthly tabulation of every single dollar that comes into your life as well as leaves your life. This gives you a really good idea of where you're spending your money each month. Step number 4 is to look at each expense on that monthly tabulation and ask yourself 3 questions about each of those expenses. Did I receive fulfillment, satisfaction, and value in proportion to the amount of time that it took me to make the money for that expense? Is the expenditure in alignment with my values and life purpose? And how much would this expenditure change if I didn't have to work for money? Asking these 3 questions about all of your expenses gives you a good idea of where you might be spending too much money, and also could give you an idea of where maybe you should be spending more money. Step 5 is to create a chart that you hang up on your wall that shows monthly expenses as well as monthly income. This gives you visual depiction of how your income and expenses are changing over time. Hopefully, as you go through this program, you'll see your expenses start to drop, and also maybe you'll see your income increase as well. Step 6 discusses ways that you can minimize income, which I hope everybody can understand is extremely beneficial. Step 7 is about maximizing your income. This step isn't about being super greedy and wanting more money, it's about getting the most value for the time that you spend working. Step 8 talks about what to do when you reach the financial independence milestone, which is when your investment income covers all of your day-to-day expenses. And finally, step 9 talks about the multitude of different ways that you can invest your money for long-term growth. Again, I encourage all of you guys to read this book. It is a great personal finance book, so there's an Amazon link in the description. If you follow these 9 steps and you work hard, you will eventually become financially independent, and that will allow you to live your life the way you want to. The biggest thing that I love about this book is that it constantly talks about one's life energy. We all have a finite amount of time on this earth, and nobody should spend their entire working life doing a job that they absolutely hate. This book forces you to take a look at personal finance through the lens of how much time or life energy am I spending in order to make this purchase. Once you realize that, for example, you might be spending 40 hours of your life energy just to pay for that brand new phone, you have to assess if that's time well spent or not. For some people it will be, and for others it might be unreasonable. This book is not trying to shame anybody about any purchases they make, and it's definitely going to vary person to person how you view this book. But it definitely transforms your mind as you read this book and look at personal finance through a different lens. Again, I couldn't recommend this book enough. There is a lot of good information. I just simply can't get through all of it in 5 minutes. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you're new around here, consider subscribing.